Ogne, what happens in Vilnius stays in Vilnius. What happened in San Paule stays in San Paule. I really think, maybe it sounds a bit naive, but I really think that any new person I meet can be in Vilnius today, can be in south of France tomorrow, can be an opportunity for incredible encounter, and maybe a new story, a fantastic inspiration for images, for a scent maybe, for a color, and then, so yeah, I'm very curious.
Has your wife inspired any of your perfumes?
She has.
Which one?
She has, indeed. She inspired the perfume. The name is not easy. It's called contre ta peau. Contre ta peau means on your skin or close to your skin. It's a French expression, like there is a toe, and so it's like close to your skin. Yeah. There is no rule. Like, it has to be like this.
You
forever.
Can't frame yourself. Yeah.
No, don't do that. Never do that. Maybe the next name would be, I don't know.
German.
I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. It would be Ramonde, for example.
Yeah. Let's keep this tone for our conversations.
Okay.
Because right now, I want to do a quick intro, if you don't mind. Sveiki, mūsų mėly žiūrovai. Šiandien mes turime special epizodą. Ir special vardą jis gavo tikrai ne veltui. Būtent todėl, kad šiandien ant mūsų sofos sėdi ypatingas žmogus. Į Lietuvą tarp daugybės savo kelionių jis užsuko aplankyti ir pasižiūrėti, kaip gyvena mūsų geriausio draugo, partnerio Crème butikai, susipažinti su šia kultūra ir kaip pats Nicolas minėjo, gauti inspiracijos galbūt kitam kvapui. Nicolas Dewitte yra Chambre 52 nišinės parfumerijos namų įkūrėjas. Tai yra prekės ženklas gimęs iš aistros keliauti. Manau, kad jūs tikrai interviu metu suprasite tai ir tikiuosi, kad Nicolas jums papasakos istoriją, kaip gimė šis ypatingas, labai stipriai užkoduotas pavadinimas. Tad dabar kviečiu įsijungti subtitrus ir tęsti peržiūrą. So you didn't start Chambre 52 because you spotted a market opportunity. You've been in an industry for 20 years. So what actually changed within those 20 years, and what changed at that moment when you felt that day one is supposed to be starting? Like, you've always had this probably, like, I'm not sure, like, tell me, have you had this, like, one day I'll have a perfume brand? Or was it a thought that, just came instantly in, I don't know, in one trip?
Okay. It was not an easy way. I tell you the reality, what really happened. But first of all, thank you very much, Ogne, for having me with you here this morning, this amazing studio. And it's a real pleasure. It's my very first time in Vilnius. So, and I've been loving it with incredible people around me in the past few days. So thank you very much for this fantastic opportunity.
It's amazing to have you, honestly. And I was just saying that you and your brand brought so much joy, like this color and so much sense into our studio. So thank you for coming here. Well,
that's the best. After you say that, I think I can go, because that's the reason why I created this brand, and to experience it, to live this kind of moment, and to have this kind of feeling. And to answer your question is, I was not planning at all launch a perfume brand. It was not planned. Okay, I'm a big fan of perfume. I designed perfume for been doing that for the past 20 years. But I was not planning to launch my own perfume brand. But it happened. I was in Brazil. I was in San Paule for a trip, and I was supposed to stay 24 hours. But the moment I was supposed to take my plane back to Paris, I couldn't, but I couldn't. I had to stay. I had to stay in San Paule. San Paule because I like the city. I know it very well, but I don't know. It was something that happened to me. It was probably a specific moment in my life, not an easy one. And then I thought, okay, so let's have a break and let's reconnect with myself, maybe. So I was in this hotel, in this Chambre 52, in this room 52, in this hotel in San Paulo, and I had some very intense moments for sure, but also a moment of reconnection with myself, and more introspective. And I was writing stories. I love writing. I'm a very bad writer. Okay, so don't read me. So don't read me. But I was writing these stories. I like these stories. And the moment that you asked for, it's the moment that probably I was on a plane. I remember very well, because I've ended up flying back to Paris after some time. I had to. And I was in a plane. I thought, okay, but I kind of like these stories. They're not that bad. My way of telling stories is through like making perfumes and then making the people smell the perfume and experience emotions through the scent, the image, the graphic, the bottle itself, many different elements. And that's my way of telling stories. So I say, okay, forget about your writing story, but go for the perfume story. And then the process is quite long. Between the moment you think you're going to launch your own brand and you really launch it and you see it in the stores, like an amazing story, Crème de la Crème here in Vilnius. It takes like 2 years, 2.5. So I don't know. It came like because I think I needed to tell stories to myself, probably, and many to other people.
Yeah. So maybe can we say that your perfume brand brought a new version of you?
I learned a lot about myself during this process, and that's interesting because I think everybody is definitely able to, at a moment in his life, go for something he really likes. If you have the opportunity to listen to yourself and go for it, because we all can do much more than we think we can. And sky is the limit. So go ahead, create. It doesn't have to be a perfume. It doesn't have to be a book. It can be something totally different. But I think deep inside each of us, there is something that can tell, hey, it's a moment. Go for it. Tell your own story. And sometimes we feel like, okay, I'm going to tell my own story, but it's not really interesting. Who is going to be interested in that? But it's not the case. I mean, everybody is interested in the stories if they are real, sincere, I think. And so that's my moment.
So within those 20 years, it's 2 decades, right? So were those...
Thank you for remembering my age. Yeah.
No, honestly, look what it brought.
Okay.
So would those versions of you have been able to create what you created now? Or if the perfume brand was launched 10 years ago, for example, would it be different? Would it be
totally different.
Why?
Again, this creation is linked to this specific moment in my life. And I think 10 years ago, I had less to tell, or I was not able to listen to myself and know what to tell. So I think it was not ready 10 years ago. I would have loved it, but no, it came at that specific moment. And it was also a moment that I wanted to tell something, tell to myself, tell to the others, but no, it's different. And within 10 years, what's going to happen? Probably I'm going to tell other stories, again, different stories. And I also think that the brand is something that really evolves, especially with the brand with a more artisan way, and with the creator. And the brand is not a fixed element or asset. It's something that is living, same like you. Like the brand is moving, and it's like the same for any painter, creator, artist. People have different phases and they create in different ways. So what would be the brand? What would be Chambre 52 in 10 years? I don't know.
Yeah. There's this one thing about your brand is that it's fascinating in all sorts of ways. To start with, the bottle. So I know there's a special story behind the shape of a bottle, right? Also the names, the notes that you use. Can you tell us a little bit more about the shape of the bottle?
I need to thank you for mentioning this point. The bottle was the starting point of the creation process for me. In the niche perfumery, we usually have one bottle that we keep for ages, for years. And so I really wanted to fall in love with my bottle. I really love it. And anytime I see it, I need to really like it all the time, because I'm going to see it a lot. I'm seeing it a lot today. So if you don't really love it from the beginning, then it's going to be a problem. But a little magic came with this magic moment. I came with this with creation. I need to pay a tribute. I want to do that right now to one person, and 2 persons actually. A gentleman called Pierre Dinant and his great son called Jules Dinant. Pierre Dinant is a French artist. I think I can tell his age, 94 years now. And I knocked his door. I didn't know him, but I knocked his door 3 years ago because I knew that he wanted to develop my perfume, my bottle. I need to work with him. This person is a genius. He created the most beautiful perfume in the past 50 years in the perfume industry, starting with Eau Sauvage, but from the 70s, and Opium and many other brands, even by Redo and Chambre 52 now. And this gentleman works in a small atelier. I know you can imagine that. Imagine a small atelier in Saint-Germain-des-Prés, a little bit dark, and around you like 1,000 bottles, only bottles, glass bottles. And it's a special place. It's a very special gentleman, so talented. And then I knock his door and said, Nicolas, I'm a little tired. I'm not sure, I'm going to go for a new project. And then I told him about my Chambre 52 and my hotel story, what happened in this room 52. He goes, I have so many souvenirs in the hotel room for so many years in my life. So I'm going to work with you and accompany you for development, the creation of this bottle. And it was a moment of grace. Every 2 weeks, I was going to this little atelier, and there was like a battle between this gentleman, Pierre Dinan, the grandfather, and his great son, Jules Dinan, who is an extremely talented person also. And they were proposing me some design for the bottle. The grandfather was like drawing with the hand, and painting the papers to present me the proposals. And the great son, Jules, was making the drawing on the computer. And it was a little battle, beautiful one, family one. And this process lasts like many months, but to take us to this bottle. I hope you like the bottle.
I love it.
People will like the bottle. May I take it in my hand?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's your perfume.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So I take one of these, and and probably if you take it in your hand, so that's what I like. And when you grab it, think that something is happening. The glass material is something that you can do whatever you want with. So I like this idea of the strap, which is a little bit of the signature of the Pierre Dinan and Jules Dinan. And I like the contrast between even the temperature of the glass and the temperature of the label that you see here. And also the transparency of the bottle, so that you can see what is inside, which is the real star of the perfume, which is the juice itself. It's really the fragrance itself that's the real star. So you see the real color, so you can imagine exactly a little bit of how it's made. So it's the first contact you get with man. So really like it. It's not really a figurative product. Some people tell me like, I don't know, it looks like a bullet or gun or something, or an archer, I don't know.
It looks like a vase.
Yes, well, I wanted this bottle to be like maybe timeless. Okay, I think this perfume could have been created in the 70s. So for sure. So something kind of vintage or timeless, let's say. But I hope also it's still a little bit more modern, and still we could imagine that we create it now or again in 20 years. And so I like this idea of the light coming in and coming out with these stripes like this. And also you see there is something special with the cap. There's a little music when you open the cap and they close it down.
Yeah.
It's like this small detail.
It's a very luxurious experience when you open it. Honestly, it's also. Did you have to compromise yourself when you picked the small version?
No way. No, not at all. We first imagined the bigger bottle, the 100 ml, and I love it so much. So what we did, we immediately right after, if I may, right after that moment, we imagined a 52 ml bottle. It's not a 50, so it's a 52 ml, like the Chambre 52. Okay, another detail, a small one. But no, we had a lot of fun designing this little tiny bottle. We love it. And also what we did that I like, because when you have a chance to create a brand in 1926, when you have a chance to create a brand in 2026, then you can think about many interesting things, like, for example, making a refillable perfume.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it. I have this perfume and I didn't know it.
Okay. So I may find a refill for you someday. So that's the base of the creation. Was think about anything is important to you, share it with extremely talented people, Pierre Dinan, Jules Dinan, and then let's see how it goes. And that's what happened. And this bottle, that doesn't mean nothing, unless that we love it. And also maybe something about the color of the cap. The color of the cap is like a special red, not in Pantone, doesn't really exist, because this cap remind me the color of the rooftop of this hotel in San Paule. In this hotel in San Paule where I stayed, there was this rooftop, amazing rooftop, big parties, big night, DJs, It's fantastic parties. And a very nice pool. But the pool is made of dark red mosaic. So when you dive in the pool, especially at the night, you feel like diving in the blood.
Yes.
So it's like really graphic, really visual. And this dark red color is the color that I remember from the pool from this hotel. So a little souvenir from this moment. So this is, so once we had the bottle, then I knew that I could move forward and continue with the scents and really launch my brand.
Yeah. Do you ever go back to that hotel?
Not yet. I don't know. I know if I...
So everything just comes from your memories and the senses?
Many things were written really. I wrote a lot of things when I was in this hotel during the stay. So I had a lot of material that helped me today, and I have incredible memories in this place. So yes, but I'm going to come back. I had the opportunity to launch a brand in Brazil a few months ago also, because everything started there. So yeah, I need to get there and have a big party in this rooftop.
Yeah. You know, it's such a unique story, and I'm not just saying it because many brands, when they start a brand, they sort of know the strategy behind naming it. And that's so unique and so honest. And, you know, so what happened in that room 52 that couldn't have happened at home? If it wasn't for that one trip, would you have been able to start the brand?
Ogne, you know, what happens in Vilnius stays in Vilnius. What happened in San Paule stays in San Paule. No? I had some great time in this, it's room 52. But it was also a very introspective moment, you know, and maybe this specific moment outside of your hometown made it a little bit special. I don't think I could have moved to these stories, or I don't think I could have written these stories really in Paris, in my office. And you know, there is one of the reason also for the name of this brand. There was a book written 100 years ago, in 1925, by a British author. Her name is Virginia Woolf. And Virginia Woolf, she wrote a book because she wondered why, at the beginning of the 20th century, only men were writing novels and no women were writing novels. So I'm going to the point. Okay. And she was wondering that. And then she wrote a book. It was an essay trying to understand why only men were like having this creation process, writing novels. Even if you remember the first woman who wrote novels, they even wrote their novels under the name of men, like George Sand or this kind of. So she wrote an essay that would become an icon in the feminist literature, and this book was wondering, so why no woman wrote any novel at that time? She comes to two conclusions. She said that a woman, she wants to create, she wants to write something, create more globally. She needs two things in life. First thing she needs is 500 shillings a week, a little bit of money, okay? Second thing she needs is a room for her, a space for her. And the name of the book is A Room of One's Own, in English. In French, it's Une chambre à soi, okay? And this space, this chambre à soi, this room of one's own, is definitely the place I needed to be in this hotel, in this moment, and to be alone with myself, reconnect. And that's probably one of the reasons also for the name of the brand, for the name of this name, Chambre 52. And it's also the name that inspired me, one of the first perfume, the very first perfume original. The name is Orancy, a very classic French name, means light. And Orancy is all about that. It's like Ugne, for example, waking up in this morning in this Chambre 52, like alone, maybe this morning, taking the time for yourself, timing for you to reconnect, to revisit some moments, and have a moment for you, but a nice one, you know, pleasant one. You have like a accomplished woman. So that's the thing about what happened there in San Paule, specifically in this Chambre 52. And I don't think I could find that in my room in Paris. Yeah, so you required a displacement to create something, right? Yes, in this case, it's exactly what happened. I'm not sure creation is definitely linked to needs a displacement. Every creator, I think, has his own story, but I need to be moving. I need to be I like movements. I need to meet new people. I really think, maybe it sounds a bit naive, but I really think that any new person I meet, can be in Vilnius today, can be in south of France tomorrow, can be an opportunity for incredible encounter, and maybe a new story, a fantastic inspiration for images, for a scent, maybe for a color, and then yeah, I'm very curious, and I love that. I love meeting new people. I love it, and that's probably my real driver in life. Yeah. Even more than perfume. Maybe perfume is an excuse to go and meet new people and enjoy this kind of moment.
Yeah. Traveling and just trips around the world is a big part of your brand. How come? Why do you like traveling?
I think it's part of me. I was born in the Caribbean, in Martinique, small island there. So it started there. Strong relationship with travel, with the ocean, many stories. And through my life, as you say, the past 20 years, I've been traveling so much to like 70 countries, meeting so many people. So yeah, again, but it's, what I love when I travel also, that I think it's really, really comfortable and interesting to see that when you travel, when I propose and I talk about Chambre 52 in Paris, in LA, in Tokyo, or here in Vilnius today, it's like, people connect, and we all connect about beauty. We all connect about pleasure with each other, experience like joyful moments. And then I think we're not that different. And it's something that makes me quite happy, and that pleases me. And I think maybe it's a good sign for the future, for this life is not that bad. Come on, maybe we can live together, That's a big hope for me. So all this travel, all this experience, all this meeting people in different culture, probably made of me what I am today and what I want to be tomorrow. So
yeah. You've mentioned in an interview that you're obsessed with storytelling before perfume, right? And before developing fragrances, you write. So what story does your iconic tobacco memories and tobacco memories extrait tell? Okay.
The story behind the tobacco memories is not the easiest one because it's probably the most personal one. So it's even a little deep. So, but I tell you, I wrote this story. It was the very last night in San Paule because I had to fly back to Paris. I ended up flying back to Paris, but the very last night was a long night. I came back to the hotel room like very late, very tired. Okay. And I was alone and I opened my computer and I was thinking about this very long trip in San Paule and all this moment of experience. I had a glass of whiskey with me, the last drink, and this last drink did help me maybe get deeper into my souvenir and accept to revisit the moment of the past. You're very young, but my age and my experience, I experienced some good things and some bad things in life. And I think if you want to move forward in your life, you really need to accept what happened in the past. Sometimes it's difficult. For me, it was not that easy, but I think I needed it. And so that's what happened. And because it happened, I think this long story happened and this specific moment happened. I could then fly back to Paris and I was ready to fly back. And that's why, tobacco memories, if you smell it, it starts like very intense perfume. And it starts with notes of spicy, saffron, a little bit gourmand with almond, dark cherry, but also so it's really intense to start, but the base note is really kind of soft and delicate. It says tobacco, but it's a little bit tricky because it's not really a smoky tobacco perfume. We use this absolute of tobacco leaf, which is a very delicate scent, fantastic, beautiful scent. So so this perfume is like a little movement again, the trip with very really intensity from the beginning and a lot of delicacy on the base note. And if it's what people feel when they smell my perfume, globally the perfume of Chambre 52, but especially tobacco memories, then I'm very happy. And then after I imagined tobacco memories, I thought maybe it was a year later, I needed again to go a little bit deeper into my memories, maybe I didn't do the job 100%, so I could go a little bit further. And then that's when I imagined the extrait de parfum for tobacco memories, which is the structure is the same. Olfactively, it's not so different, but I added some specific ingredients, and to maybe feel like this intensity, stronger again, deeper, and starts with the overdose of dark cherry, a bitter dark cherry. That's the first thing that you get is like, wow, where is this guy taking me? And if with this start after this start, taking you to a place that you feel comfortable with, so I'm very happy with.
Yeah. You know, people around the world sort of pick tobacco memories as their favorite. Can you pick your favorite perfume?
It's really, really tricky question. It's not an easy one. I don't really have a favorite.
It's like picking the favorite child, as we talked before, just before shooting.
Yes. I have 3 kids.
Yes.
Okay. I love them. I love you guys. but all of them. But if you need to really tell what's your favorite, okay, it's an impossible question. But if you have to, I think you always think about the most innocent, most fragile one. So, and I think maybe because the story was complex to me, very intense, very personal. So coming deep from my soul. So I think tobacco memories is probably.
There's a really interesting thing about you that I read, that you don't tend to wear perfume during the day, right? Is that instead it's like an evening element, right?
That was the purpose of the question. I don't wear perfume during the day usually because, we're always in the process of creation. And so in the morning, if you wear a perfume and you're going to smell some other perfume and try new notes that may come in the next perfume for Chambre 52, I think then maybe the scent that you wear yourself may spoil the quality of the moment. So no, that's why usually we don't wear perfume in the morning. But we do wear in the night. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever miss experiencing perfume the way an average person does?
When we smell, people create perfumes and we smell perfume. I think we're interested always in how it's done, and what is behind the creation process, how it comes, what the structure of it, how it's done. So it's like everything. When you understand it a bit, you need to think, hey, what happened? How do you do that? So when you read a great interview podcast, hey, how you come to go for this question? It's like an architect would probably when he goes on the bridge, and they probably like an engineer like, hey, how was this bridge?
I would have done differently. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So no, I don't smell. To tell you the truth, I don't smell so many perfumes. I smell perfume all the time, but like for the next perfume for my brand, but I don't smell so many perfume out of my perfume, especially during the creation process, because for 2 reasons. First, I think that the other perfume for my friend or from my competitors, they're fantastic. And so if I smell them, like, hey, how can you do better than that? So that's the main reason. And also, if I smell a perfume that I really like, and it happens all the time, it would definitely influence my perception of maybe the next steps in the creation process of the next perfume. So I don't often smell perfume.
Right. You visited more than 70 countries, right? And you lived in France, Brazil, Spain, and Italy, and Caribbean, obviously. What's the most beautiful smell that you've ever encountered that couldn't be bottled?
Okay.
The flowers, maybe the smell of a city, because it's really, it's so rich. And how can a place or a visual tell you what the smell notes should be? How can, for example, a country inspire a smell, some notes?
To answer your first question, maybe the scent that I love and I would not put in a bottle is the scent of the skin of my wife. It's probably the scent that I love, and that's totally really special. So that's what I'd like to reproduce. Maybe sometime, but no, you don't need to reproduce that. It's unique, and that's fine. And I think that's also something which is absolutely fantastic with the people and the scent. The scents always evolve a different way on any skin. that we have a perfume, we have a scent, we have our own scent. So we have to, it's interesting to think about it. And so I would say that probably the scent of the skin of my wife. We've been married 20 years. And about countries, I don't know. I never really thought about it. It's not that I'm in Rome and I want to think about a perfume in Rome. The starting point is more like a relationship or a person that I see, that I meet, I think about, rather than a space, rather than a place or a country or a city. So it starts with someone. This person could be anywhere in the world.
Yeah. Has your wife inspired any of your perfumes?
She has.
Which one?
She has, indeed. She inspired the perfume. The name is not easy. It's called Contre ta peau.
Okay.
Contre ta peau means on your skin or close to your skin. It's a French expression, like very subtle, and says like close to your skin. So yeah, this is a very essential perfume for me.
Have you ever created anything that didn't reach the light of the world and the light of the sun, and you just, kept it to yourself or your wife? Because I feel like that's such a unique thing. When you have a husband who has a perfume brand, you can use this opportunity and, get a one-of-a-kind perfume.
There are some secrets behind it, and maybe behind Contre ta peau there may be some different versions with different concentration or some nuances that maybe can make this some little production very unique for her.
Yeah. What is the best way for you to brief a perfumer?
It's honestly tell the story. Well, to explain how all your own doubts, try to tell what you've seen, and you need this incredible connection where the perfumer would really understand your meaning, understand your feeling, and it's not everyone, and it's not everyone at the same timing. And that's a specific moment some perfumer could definitely follow you and understand you, and maybe they would do like 2 years later, because it's more matching with their own life, with their own moments, with their own emotion. I'm asking a lot about the emotion, the story to quite written. So the brief, some perfumers, sometimes when you make a brief, you can make a brief and start with ingredients. That could be the starting point of your creation. As you say, my starting point is written stories about emotions, about people. And when I get the emotion and I get the essence of the emotion I want to tell, then I start talking to the perfumer. I want to tell him my story, him or her, the story. And then we see if there is this incredible connection happened, and sometimes happened. About tobacco memories, which was absolutely fantastic, the perfumer who worked with me at that time, her name is Domitille Michelon. She's a superstar. You'll be hearing a lot about her, okay? And Domitille Michelon, she visited Brazil many times and San Paule many times. And she stayed at this hotel in San Paule. So she really understood what I was feeling, and she probably visited this Chambre 52, room 52 in the past. So I think she really understood everything from quite immediately. And even if the creation process of this specific scent was very long with her, it was really a pleasure. It's a really moment of, again, intensity and delicacy.
How many versions of the perfume that you have and usually get before approving that final masterpiece?
52.
52?
No, it really depends. Orancy was imagined with Caroline Demure, another superstar, another lady. Imagine Contre ta peau and Orancy was I think like 10, 12 versions of it. And then we were really aligned on what we wanted to do. But I think Tobacco Memories, it took us like 9 months, more than that. So it was long, many versions.
Yeah.
When I say 52, I'm not so far from what probably happened.
What surprised you the most when you started creating perfumes? Maybe there were myths that broke down about perfumery?
No, what is incredible with perfumery is that the options in terms of variety of scents are a wonder. And sometimes you think that everything has been done already. Orancy is a little lychee note, very delicate, with and dazzling, with absolute of roses and white and white musk, white and pink musk. But you think, okay, rose and musk and lychee, I mean, this exists already. So, but no, it's different. I think this perfume is different, and also because I don't smell any other perfume in this creation process. I think I really try to make this perfume kind of unique, and so it's incredible to see that still after all this perfume that is up, so all this incredible perfume that you can find at Crème de la Crème, you still can with your imagination, with your soul, with your mind, and with the talents also working with you, you can still experience real creative moments. Yeah, that's wonderful.
How critical and picky are you with perfumes right now? When you started your own brand?
No, there's no impact, and there's no. I really, as I told you before, I'm really impressed with the creation of so incredible brands around, and we're also experiencing a moment in this industry that artisanal projects. Creation products starting from nowhere have a chance to touch other people. No, picky, no, nothing picky, nothing has changed. I'm really still fan of many perfume, many creators doing a fantastic job also in this industry. And so we're a moment that we can express ourselves, we can tell our own story. You don't need to be a super big brand to be able to tell the story and connect with the people. And that's absolutely wonderful. So no, nothing has changed.
Yeah. What do you think takes, I really like to give this question to niche perfumery brand creators or perfumers themselves. Yeah. What does it take to create a global success? Like a globally successful perfume?
I don't know yet.
You do. Tobacco Memories is loved.
No, you're absolutely, it's so nice. Really nice saying that. But no, it's a long process. And, I've been very fortunate because I launched a brand a year ago only. And it was like yesterday. And it's true that things are going well. And I'm really lucky to launch a brand in a few places.
But listen, people in Lithuania love your perfumes. Doesn't that say anything?
No, well, I'm so blessed. I'm so touched when I say that. When I travel to Paris, New York, Los Angeles, Tokyo, Vilnius, I see the people enjoy this scent, the bottle, the creation for the whole thing. The emotion comes to the people in here. So thank you guys. Thank you very much for that. I'm blessed, but it's still a beginning, and I know that the launching a perfume brand is like a marathon. So I want to continue proposing the best creation possible. So keep digging into myself, my mind, myself, to try to be very creative and propose the best of myself. Yeah.
Do you, when you brief perfumes and create perfumes, do you look into what's trending across the world? I mean, in terms of notes, because for a while the world was crazy about woody notes, oud, and all these heavy notes. Do you look into those trends when create perfumes?
I don't know. I have no idea. No, I cannot tell. I have no idea because, of course, I have ears and so I listen to some stories. But I really don't care about that. It's not important to me. And it's, maybe the best compliment I had from some really incredible perfumers in the industry, that when they smell tobacco memories, that so that, wow, this is bizarre because it's not related to anything that we knew before. So it's not like, even it's difficult to place tobacco memories in one olfactive family. We have olfactive families. And then we put the product, always happy to put the product in the case, something like that. So, but tobacco memories, people are saying that they don't know really where to place it. It's kind of little UFO in the perfume industry, and that's probably the best compliment you can give me. So no, forget about the trends. Never listen to the trend. Don't do that.
Yeah. One of your recurring ideas is that niche perfume is a form of self-affirmation. Is that correct?
It is.
Yeah. And rather than impressing others, it's about choosing who you are. So what is luxury for you today? Because niche perfumery, let's be honest, it's an ultimate and very, very silent luxury that a person can wear. So what is a luxury for you today?
Let's be honest, okay? Really, let's be honest. No lies, never, okay? We agree with that. Luxury is not an object. Luxury is a moment, the experience you're going to have So if you need this perfume to experience a soft or intense moment or delicate moment, and it drives you to the right direction and makes you happy, confident with yourself, love yourself better, more confident, and enjoy the moments, well, that's real luxury, I guess.
Yeah. When asked about what beauty means to you, you once answered, beauty is self-acceptance, not youth, not perfection, not aesthetics. That's a really unexpectedly philosophical answer coming from someone in luxury fragrances, right? So why was that your answer?
I really believe the first perfection doesn't exist. And we're here right now, we're having this moment. I'm definitely learning every day by, again, meeting new people. And every moment I had an incredible moment yesterday night, for example, with the gentleman here in Vilnius, and I was learning so much. So it's, and when you start with any creation process, you're fragile. You have so many doubts. It's not like you come and you know that, hey, this brand is going to be great. No, you don't know. You have no idea. And sometimes it works. Sometimes you touch the people, sometimes you don't. And what is incredible is that Chambre 52 is very far from being the perfect brand. There are many small things, small details that I would have changed, that I want to change now. And I think, it's not perfect. And maybe this and these small details. So, but I think the people, when they know that you do the things really with your heart, they're ready to accept these little things that make your brand imperfect. And that's the beauty of this project and the beauty of any project when it starts from the very beginning.
Yeah. You spent, again, 20 years creating behind the scenes, right? You understood the industry before becoming its face. Can you tell us a little bit about that breaking point when you became a perfumer? How did your, friends, family react to this when you became the founder, not someone in the industry?
Okay. I'm smiling inside me also because it's people were surprised. No, and sometimes your beloved are like, not only my wife and my kids, this is really, really close, but sometimes, your family, like really, but, and so, there is something special because this job is not a job. It's so cool. It's so nice. It's so, joyful. It's so, playful. So also, it's a fantastic work. So, yes, to make this possible, was a surprise for some of my friends, but I must tell you something. I'm really far from where I want to go and what I want to be tomorrow. So I think it's a long process. It's not like you become a perfumer or you start with a project and then we can have this conversation also. You did a brand. What is a brand? When a brand is a brand, when a perfume becomes a brand. So I don't really know that. So there was some surprise. It was really interesting to see that in the eyes of your beloved, but also sometimes, and all these feelings. When you see you have this perception in the eyes of people, it gives you more energy to move forward. And that's any reaction, any moment on the starting process that will never happen again. This specific moment, starting process is really interesting and key if you use it correctly to give you fantastic energy, very good vibe for the creation process that we follow and that will last for long because we're still starting.
Yes. You mentioned really briefly that you are nowhere near from where you want to be. Can you tell us a little bit about what your dream goal is for the brand?
Yeah, I think someday I want to go to the 70 countries I travel already and see my brand there and see that I can touch the people from different wider environments the brand will remain like very niche, very special, very only in the most beautiful stores in the world, I hope. But but we launched a year ago. We're only in very few places in the world now, and like very few countries. Here today in Vilnius, yesterday in Riga, because I think really that Crème de la Crème are the most beautiful stores in Eastern Europe and maybe in Europe. So that's why these countries for niche perfumery is so special. But now continue creating and creating for yourself and creating for the other. That's a challenge.
Yeah. And aside from this beautiful, romantic and spiritual story that you have, how the brand was born, was there any hesitation or like, were you not scared to drop what you've been working on before and just go and dive deeply into a completely new thing and being a founder and a businessman and an entrepreneur?
Okay, I was really scared. I tell you something that I didn't tell many people. Never. Well, a few people know that. When I launched the brand, I had the opportunity to launch a brand in France, at Paris, at a grand magasin called Printemps. And I was starting with 6 perfume, and I don't know why, these Printemps people, they really like the project, they like the bottle, they like the entire brand. And they gave us a space which is like bigger than the studio here to tell my own story. But I only had these 6 little cents. So what I'm going to do? So I have to set up an amazing space and a beautiful decoration, like kind of shop in shop. But I was so scared that I finished the setup of the setup of the boutique during the night, back to my home at 4 a.m. And then when I finished that, I couldn't sleep. And I was thinking, wow, it's catastrophe. It's like all the doubts that came back. And I was thinking, tomorrow I'm opening, I'm revealing the industry, I'm revealing the people in the Printemps, my creations. And it's going to be really difficult. So I was supposed to meet the people from the Printemps in the morning. It's to reveal the decoration we had, and so it was supposed to be a nice moment. But I can tell you that I never appeared there. I didn't go there. I couldn't go. I stayed in my home. I was like, that was so difficult. It was like, yeah, but I was thinking maybe everything is wrong, so maybe I'm going there. So so the doubt was really, really present, especially this moment. And then after a while, I ended up going at the Printemps. I had a look at me so that people don't see me. I don't see people so much. And I go through the shop in shop. And then at moments I see someone, a lady, I remember very well, the first lady, they come and buy a product at the cashier. It was Orancy at the time. And so it's like, wow, okay. So maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's happening. So, so the doubt is everywhere and was really present. And I think I still experience this moment of doubt a lot, today. And it's, I think maybe I need it also a little bit for this creation process. Yeah.
Can you ever imagine changing the concept of your perfumery brand?
No, I'm not sure there's a concept behind it. I really try to, each perfume for me, for Chambre 52, with this design, with this bottle, with this story, has to be really intense, super long lasting, but also trying to get this delicate touch, like this delicacy that you can get. So that's maybe my way, my touch, what I want the people to feel about it. So I don't want to change that. So intensity and delicacy, that's what I want to do. But come back to doubts, I tell you that next perfume I'm going to launch, I'm going to be with the same doubts at the other one. Like if you start from zero.
Yeah. And as a proud owner of a 1-year-old perfumery brand, whose approval matters less to you today than it did before you launched the brand?
Approval matters more or less? Less?
Yeah.
No. That's, I cannot say that. I mean, I think anybody's approval is so important to me. Yeah. I need to, but anyone. Yeah, the girl, the boy I meet in the stores, and I tell my stories. I make them send the perfume. I really look at their eyes. Are they really liking it or not? If they don't, I feel like I feel miserable. I think it's no. There's no chance that. Yeah. When you create something like that, again, starting from scratch, a white page, and it becomes a perfume, and again, it touches the people. Any people it touches, it's just wonderful. It's like any time you have someone that really I can see like the perfume, it's a special emotion to me. I love it. Yeah. So I love being in the stores. I like being in the team. Like, hey, yeah.
Yeah. And now that you're planning on expanding, like, the perfumes and the whole line, you picked out Tobacco Memories to be the first extract. Why was that? Did you feel like the story needed to be told differently, or did you just want a stronger perfume?
No, yeah, it's Tobacco Memories is strong. Extrait de parfum is stronger, but it's not only stronger. Before it's really an overdose of bitter dark cherry. When you smell this perfume, so it's really a different perfume. And also we included more ingredients like living stallion, very interesting extraction process, or some labdanum to make this perfume more intense, more deep, maybe more sexy also, even more sexy. And I needed to go deeper into these memories. That's really why I want to do that. And I thought that this perfume, this scent could bring something different also, and maybe touch other people. It doesn't have to be the same people that were in Tobacco Memories and Extrait de Parfum Tobacco Memories. It can be very different people. And I'm very happy if it's different people. And I'm okay even if some people who love Tobacco Memories don't like the Extrait de Parfum Tobacco Memories, it's fine. It's just like, I needed myself to get deeper into these memories and again, accept this moment. So it was a necessity. It was not like, there was nothing much rational about it.
No. Are you more into a traditional perfumery or more innovative one? Because I know quite a few brands have started creating their own ingredients, like their own berries, their own flowers, if you can say so. What about you?
I think maybe conservative, but also extremely interested in the new possibilities, new materials. And for Extrait de Parfum, for Tobacco Memories, Extrait de Parfum, just mentioned, we use an ingredient called living stallion. A living stallion is actually a new way of extraction. Imagine a stallion, a horse, okay? And when you cannot make an extraction of a horse, you cannot distillate a horse, thanks God, okay? We have laws for that, it's good. Animals protected. So what we do for the living stallion is that we have this horse, goes running, back to the box. We put like a little glass jar on the back of the horse, and you wait for the gap of temperature and the sweat of the horse. You get some little drops of sweat, liquid inside the glass jar. Okay, then you close the glass jar. You bring the jar to the lab, and then you extract the olfactive scents out of this. So this is a new way of extraction. It's called living extraction. Here it's a living stallion, and it brings definitely, again, a palette of new possibilities for perfume. So maybe I'm kind of conventional, but I'm really, really interested in the new opportunities. And the way I want the people feel about the perfume is also the dimension of pleasure. Okay, sensuality, but pleasure also. Chambre 52, we don't make like really crazy perfume that smell like, something really, really too special. I think the dimension of pleasure, the relation with the skin is really, really important. So that's what I want. So maybe if I need to style, probably more conventional.
Yeah. And do you have a favorite note to work with and to wear?
No, I don't have favorite notes. Again, it's my creation process doesn't start from here. I must tell that in Tobacco Memories, probably the magic comes from these specific ingredients. Now, when I come back to Vilnius, I come back and I make you try just this original ingredient. It's called Absolute of tobacco leaf, because it's wonderful with an incredible evolution. It starts like greeny and creamy, and then it becomes a melic. It's just wonderful. But again, intense and soft in the time. So that's maybe my favorite ingredient right now, but I keep it for Tobacco Memories. It would be not for any other perfume.
Yeah. And how do you pick perfumers? Because I know that, every perfume is a very personal story for you. And it seems like taking a person who's going to embody your thought and your emotions is very personal as well. So how do you do that?
I think I need to get a very specific connection with them. I need to understand what they do. I don't really care so much what they did before, It can be a young perfumer with little experience. It can be someone with much more experience. But no, it's all about are we aligned on the creation process at this specific moment in time? And and maybe sometimes the best perfume in the world would be an incredible match between desire of creation from a founder of a brand and a perfumer and or various perfumer, because sometimes you can work with like 4 hands or 2 noses. So yes, but I think it's all about relationship. I think Chambre 52 is all about relationship.
Yeah. Okay, and to the very end, I would like to wrap this up with asking you to wish something for your brand. You know, you've launched it 1 year ago. Wish something for it.
Yeah. Let me think about it. Well, I think I wish the brand is interesting enough to be able to come and visit you again in the next 2-3 years and have this conversation
Fingers
again.
Crossed, yeah.
Yeah, I keep talking about creation. I keep talking about beauty and experience. And yeah, that's probably you can wish for me.
It's a good wish. And I would like to wish you to, you know, bring more gorgeous and charming notes and perfumes to us. Because honestly, Chambre 52 Tobacco Memories is my ultimate number 1 right now. And I'm not just saying it. It's something that I grab onto the most.
You're so nice, and that's definitely too much. Thank you, but I take it. I really take it. Thank you. Thank you. You make my day today again, and thank you for that. So I keep working. Okay, I fly back to Paris now. I go to work a lot. Okay.
Please do.
Okay,
yeah.
I promise
we need your perfumes. Yeah.
I'll be working.
Yeah. Thank you, Nicolas, so much for coming in today. I hope you enjoyed our conversation, and I hope you enjoyed Lithuania as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your nice question. Thank you for everything. Thank you for this time. Thank you for the people welcome me here in Vilnius during these 2 days and in Riga yesterday. I really loved any moment. So thank you so much for that. Ciao.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Ačiū mūsų klausytojams ir žiūrovams. Tikiuosi, jums patiko šis pokalbis ir dar iš arčiau susipažinote su Chambre 52 įkūrėju ir šiuo prekės ženklu. Sekite mūsų kanalą ir laukite daugiau istorijų.